Hello and welcome to our episode where we dive into all of the things regarding our trip to Peru, communing with each other, learning about plant medicine, learning about the land itself, the people in the land. And we're really excited to get a little vulnerable and share this journey with you guys.
Yeah, this one's definitely a special one because I feel like the experience that we had in Peru was a massive step in both of our spiritual journeys and just self-love and growth in general. And so this was recorded just a month after we came back from our trip, and it was the beginning of our integration process. So I hope you guys enjoy our introduction for the original podcast was a little bit funky.
We love to say Happy New Year when we start recording.
Don't know what
So,
that's about, but
yeah,
it's a thing,
here
I
we are.
guess.
All
But I
right.
hope you guys enjoy. And stay tuned. Happy
Blast
New
off.
Year!
Happy New Year. Happy
Welcome
New
back.
Year.
Welcome back. Oh, it feels
Welcome
so
back.
good to record.
Welcome back, fairies and elves.
Fairies and elves
It's been
only.
a while.
It's been a minute. I'm eating my grapes, so you're getting some ASMR at the same time.
Those grapes look really fucking good.
Got any grapes?
Let's not do that to our audience. Come on. That's evil.
I wish I could airdrop these grapes to you.
Me too. Mumbo jumbo.
Hi, best
Eee. Hi,
friend.
bestie boo.
Oh my god, I miss you so much.
I miss you so much. I love sitting here with you right now.
I can't believe this is the first time we've talked live in a month.
Wait. Yeah, we haven't even
It's been exactly
FaceTime
a month
since we
too.
got
Yeah, no, we
back.
haven't FaceTimed.
Yeah, yesterday was a month since we arrived back in our wow. This is perfect timing. We had a month to think and sit and live our lives with this new knowledge of ourselves. Okay. Evelyn and I made a sacred Salinas pilgrimage to Peru. To Peru. And uh it was a journey. And
Oh, it was such a trip.
it was a trip and it was a trip. The
It
trip was a
was
trip.
the trip. Oh my god. It was. There's so many moments like throughout my days, especially in the past week or so, where I won't necessarily get flashbacks, but I will be able to like close my eyes and feel my body back in those spaces. And it almost feels like I left a part of myself in Peru, and I'm like able to briefly be that version of me. Like us in the treehouse, I was listening to Hammock Therapy by Spangle. I sent it to you and
Hmm.
our retreat friend,
Our homie Beth. She was
our
the only
homie
other
Beth.
woman on the retreat with us, which was beautiful. It
She was the
was,
only other person on the retreat with us. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
it was awesome.
Not
We
specifically
basically
woman, but yeah.
it was so cool. But I sent Hammock Therapy. I'll add that to the Sacred Salinas playlist. But I sent that to them and was just thinking about us laying in the hammocks in the tree house and looking at the trees and the canopy and just above the retreat and having like all of those bird noises and insects in the background and like it being kind of hot but there being a breeze, and it's so cool how like I think because we didn't have so much to do when we were on that retreat and we had so much time to just relax and be in the space and ground into our senses, it's so much easier to tap into the sensory experience of being back in there because I took it in so much. So cool.
That makes so much sense. I notice myself at least once a day, specifically thinking about myself in that place, and then observing myself in wherever I am in that present moment. And then I close my eyes and take a deep breath. And I don't necessarily think, oh, I need to like sit here and meditate right now. I need to sit here and close my eyes and ground and be here now. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I'm here. And like to the point where yesterday, like it'll happen around people. Maybe if I'm out eating and I taste something and I'm like, "Oh my God." And I close my eyes and I'm just smiling and tasting the food and thinking about the food and then thinking about and then I just think of I think every time I like become present in the moment, I also just go I like split into this moment and into a moment in Peru. And I already know I'm gonna go back and forth between saying Peru and Peru, and I
Peru. Yeah.
Peru.
Peru. So, so what did we do in Peru? uh, well, first we went to Cusco and we were cold. And we did eat some really tasty food. Um, and some beans and rice that were made by us with love and gratitude.
Mostly beans and rice. Oh, I just bit my mouth. Beans and rice.
Ouchies. I wish I could kiss it. Make it feel better. Kissy kissy. Eee.
Kissy, kissy.
Oh, I love myself. Even
Even
though
though
I
I
look
look
like a
like a
burnt
bird
chicken.
chicken. I've started
uh,
laughing like you, dude. I'll literally just be laughing and then I'll go, I'm like, oh my God, I'm channeling Evelyn through me right now.
Dude, I think that is such a form of love to like pick up other people's mannerisms. Honestly, I don't remember who told me that. It might have been you. But I was like, I literally will pick up so many people's mannerisms. And like, that is so freaking adorable to like slowly become the person that you love.
You just
I love
meld
it.
into this third person that's a combination of both of you.
Yeah, dog. There is no one Erin or one Evelyn. We're just all a big combination of everything ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, we went to Cusco, and that was amazing. That was, ugh,
It was
beautiful.
magical. It was a magical place. And Evelyn found the cutest little Airbnb for us with a little garden and a little outside table. And we got a little place with a bedroom and a little mini little kitchen because we needed to cook our own food because we were following a very strict dieta because we're both
Mm-hmm.
a little neurotic and also felt really committed to the cleansing of our bodies and the practice of uh, having a little bit of sensory deprivation in regards to food and I think I mean we both struggle we both struggled with that because we realized we both struggle with different approaches to food. To say it generally, I think nothing crazy, but just noticing a lot of things that come through when you don't get any more dopamine
Mm.
rush from flavor.
Yeah.
or from the thought of what you're going to eat later that day, because you're not excited to eat unsalted, unbuttered, unoiled rice and beans every day, and plain steamed vegetables and oats with nothing but a little steamed apple. Honestly, that was my favorite. The
It
apple
was
and
tight.
banana and the
That
oats.
was good.
Uh,
Especially with like the pumpkin seeds and it was cold and we woke up and it was so warming. Very good. Very good. And that was the cool thing about the dieta too, is like, especially at first, it was really, really hard because it was like, okay, I used to get so much gratification from all of these foods that would like make my brain go crazy and like in like a really enjoyable way. And it would just be such an experience. And man, like I love food. I think the sense of taste is such a pleasurable sense. And it's so insanely available to stimulate your sense of taste in a crazy way. Crazy way. And it doesn't even cost an insane amount of money in America either. Like, that's sometimes the case is like the cheaper it is, the more stimulating it is, um, which is wild. But having that sensory deprivation, once you got used to it, you started to appreciate the subtle flavors of something that was typically perceived as really bland. Like once you get rid of salt and like all of these other spices that we incorporate every single day, you start to notice the actual flavor of the food you're eating. And I would be literally eating like hard boiled eggs with chopped cherry tomatoes on top. I would treat it like a fucking bruschetta. And I'd be like, I'm finding joy in this. Because I had no other choice to it. It was like, I love eating and I want to enjoy my food. And I'm just going to close my eyes and like take this in. And I literally found joy and gratification in that. And it was really cool to see how, like, once you take away the noise and the chaos of this life, you start to notice the really, really subtle energies and details of everything. And it becomes a lot more enjoyable. And there's also a lot more energy in your body and in your mind because you're not having so much of it taken away from you by being so stimulated. It was
mm,
the dieta was such a learning process in and of itself.
there are certainly some foods that I've been really, really, really appreciating. Um, Now that we're not on the full dieta any longer and we've incorporated the things that feel good to bring back. But I've noticed that, okay, what's an example? Like the yogurt I'll have in the morning. I still like add in my little things that make it yummy and are like also good for my digestion and like the things that I like to add in the morning to my yogurt, um, for added nourishment. So it's not just straight up Greek yogurt, but also like I add in less of them because there's so much flavor in each thing that I'm like, I don't even need it all. I don't even need it all. Like goji berries. Goji berries, you put them in your mouth, you're like, oh my god, there's so much going on in this little berry. It's so like sour and sweet and spicy. Not spicy, but like spicy in terms of the punch that it packs. And then I don't know, there's the thickness of the almond butter. Like I used to put a heaping scoop of almond butter on top, and I'm like, "Oh, I actually need like just like half a tablespoon." And that fills me right up, and it's so cool. I'm like, "Wow, I actually taste all of these things in a much more heightened manner."
Mm.
And I don't want as much cream in my coffee. I want a little bit more of a bitter coffee because even that in itself, there's like also a little bit more, you notice a heart opening when something is more bitter because I don't really know how that works, but there must be something with the connection of your taste buds and like something bitter that you're experiencing physically and mentally that kind of wakes you up and soothes you and grounds you and isn't as stimulating as sugar, which is, you know, a part of, I think, why certain coffees make me bounce off the walls more than others because there's like 10 grams of sugar in the syrup or in the creamer. And well, anyway, I'm grateful to have had that experience and also to remember that when it's a certain time of day and I don't necessarily have the time or like I can't eat that meal in that moment, like lunchtime. It's like, oh, I can actually wait a couple hours. Like, I notice that there's still some food in my body and I still have energy. And just because it's the time doesn't mean that I have to like go to the kitchen and start cooking myself whatever just to eat at that time because that's what I'm supposed to do. And that I without fail almost every day think about how Evelyn and I went to Machu Picchu and 2 hours of sleep with barely any food in our bellies because of a food mishap the night before and not feeling good all night long and excreting everything in our bodies and then having the pretty gnarly Tupperware that we cooked like 24 hours before of rice, green
Unrefrigerated,
beans,
hard-boiled
unrefrigerated.
eggs. Literally like a 10-pound Tupperware full of unrefrigerated, fermented, like, oh my god.
And then getting halfway through our circuit and the guy being like, "Sign this book. You're going on a 4-hour hike through the
Andes
steep
Mountains.
the steep massive towering Andes Mountains."
Bro, that's such a good story though. Like I have told that story one or two times and that's one of my favorite stories. It was totally like I think I had two low points during that day and those were two of the three lowest points on my trip. And I mean every single low point that I had on the trip was like a phenomenal experience and a phenomenal story. I'm so grateful. I'm just grateful for all of it. But that was an epic hike. It was so challenging. I would not have made it through without Aaron though.
I wouldn't have made it through without you and witnessing you in your lowest point as you're communicating to me that you're in your lowest point in such a lovely open way and being like, I feel myself getting moody, Aaron, like before we even had time to like awkwardly go silent and ignore each other or start to like get bratty or whatever snappy with each other, she just goes, Aaron, I feel myself going. And I go, hey, my name is Aaron. My husband's name is Aaron. I'm like,
like,
I'm going to
please give me
distract
a
her.
break. Sure. Yeah, I really, really, honestly, that was like the last 5 or 10 minutes up until like our destination of the hike, which honestly, the way back was crazy. But that was the morale booster that I needed. And then once we got there, I completely crashed. I completely crashed. But then we breathed and we took a second and we headed back up and that was a fight. Not like an actual fight between us, but I was just fighting with every step I took.
It was a fight between everything.
And it was like, it was so crazy because like the first, I don't know, we woke up at like what, 3 a.m. We got out of Machu Picchu at like 1 p.m. The first 6 hours of the day, I was a fucking trooper. My morale was so high. I was like, let's fucking go. I'm in Machu Picchu with my best friend. Like, yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm starving. I'm tired. But like, how could literally anything get in the way? And then we went on this insane hike with this heavy ass backpack. And it was
Yeah,
like,
that was crazy.
and it was so steep too. Jesus.
It was
That was
steep, and
so cool.
kudos to the Mayans, the Incans,
Hmm.
thousands of years ago, creating these actual steps we could actually walk up and down. I mean,
Hmm.
granted, they weren't, it was not easy to do, but they were there, and it's not like we were, holding onto a rope, scaling dirt and mud. Like, we were on rock steps. That was crazy. And that
It
was
was
honestly
insane.
a big morale booster. Was like, these people had, I mean, they definitely had some insane technology. They were not out there on their own with their bare hands.
No.
They had some sort of connection to the divine that was helping them to craft this beautiful, insane, perfectly executed little village. Little, not little.
It was,
Village.
yeah, incredible architecture, insane precision. Like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. So yeah, we went to Machu Picchu.
That was epic. And that was really the only thing that we did until we made our little way over to Iquitos, and from there took a little boat ride to
On
a
the Nile River, or
sanctuary
the Nile River.
like
That's
baby
crazy. We
Moses
literally
floating
are
down.
Moses. No.
No.
Oh gosh, no. No, the Amazon River. Sorry. My
We
bad,
may as
y'all.
well have been Moses floating in a basket to our mother.
That's a really good point, Aaron. That's a really, really, really beautiful analogy that you just made, and I do agree. But yeah, we took a little boat to about 25 minutes into the Amazon rainforest
And
to our little retreat center.
shout out to Selva. Shout out to all of the beautiful human beings who run and take care of and love this sanctuary in the middle of the Amazon. So special, incredible energy. It's if anybody is curious and maybe they got the call, check out Spirit Quest Sanctuary. We'll happily plug them to anyone,
Oh my god, in
anytime,
a heartbeat.
anywhere.
Beautiful place. First of all, beautiful facility. It was the perfect amount of like, it had the creature comforts that were necessary, but it was not luxury. And it was it was clean, but it wasn't what's the word?
I'm
Sterile.
thinking of,
It wasn't
yeah,
like sterile. It was like you are in the Amazon. You are in nature. You are one with nature. You're surrounded by the bugs. You're surrounded by the dirt, the plants, but you are not sleeping in mud. Like it was amazing. It was everything that I could have ever needed. The food
dear
was
God.
so good.
After a month of slowly like incorporating a full dieta and Evelyn and
Hmm.
I just making the most plain possible foods, so limited. I think maybe went slightly overboard. Like I didn't even eat any cherry tomatoes. I didn't have any avocado. I just like I kind of went like a little balls to the wall with this because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And we get there and we're taken care of. The first thing that happens is Selva goes, I'm going to give you a tour. I'm going to show you, your home for the next 9 days. But first, are you hungry?
You're
And
like,
we go,
yes.
After our 19, or not 19, but a long travel day, not having any diet-friendly food that we can eat, and
Hmm.
they had fresh white light fish cooked for us, and rice and quinoa and veggies and avocado and salad, and wow.
It was
Wow.
a miracle, and we sat outside with the birds and with our new friend Beth, and it was just, oh my
Magical.
God. I'm like being brought back, and just that first day and being like, I'm spending the next 9 days in this amazing place. Like, it's so cool too because like yes, I miss this place totally, 100%. Like, I would go back in a heartbeat if I could, but I feel like we savored it so deeply that it's not like I'm grasping for it. It's like I got to experience this. I feel so abundant just because even though it was fleeting and even though it's gone, like I got to experience this and that was enough. It's
That was more than
so good.
enough.
It was so good. It was
Uh,
perfect.
it was everything we could have possibly needed, and there was so much time to just sit. There was
Yeah.
so much time, and oh, wow. And for some reason, and not in a bad way, but even though we had nothing but time I mean, aside from ceremony and maybe going to visit a tribe on certain days and meal times, we had hours upon hours of laying around, walking around, laying in the hammock, reading, meditating, whatever we wanted.
Hmm.
It's a lots of time for reflection. Obviously, is the point. And still, I was like not in the mindset of, oh, I have so much time, so I can just kind of like sleep in or go to bed
Hmm.
early or whatever. It was kind of like I was waking up. I mean, maybe it was also partially all the jungle sounds just waking me up at the crack of dawn, but I would wake up feeling so refreshed. 6 a.m. and it's like, yeah, I have the whole day to do nothing, but I was like, I want to get up. I want to get up at 6 and I want to go do yoga and then I want to lay for 4 hours before breakfast. And it was like the more space I had, the more I wanted to be awake for that space.
Mm.
Honestly, and it's something I'm trying to like that energy that I'm kind of still trying to find in my life here in
Mm.
LA. But it was easier for some reason to do it when I had even more space than it is to do it when I want more space in my days that have automatically less
Wow,
space.
that's such a good point. And I never really thought about that because I'm experiencing that same thing. It's like when it almost feels like when your purpose is to go and to take in that space, it's so much easier to like find the space and time and to rest in it, but like in such a fast-paced culture. When we crave, like, oh man, I have so much I have to do. I wish I could just like lay here and read a book or paint or doodle, yada yada yada. We can, but it's harder to like actually go for that.
It is. Because it's also, oh man, it's just like we still wake up pretty early and go to bed pretty early, and it's all that time in between. It's like, do we wake up earlier and go to bed later? No. It's like I just want to sleep. I want to rest. And sometimes it's also necessary, like the straight up being unconscious so the body can mend and rest. And I guess
Mm.
at some points in those 9 days, aside from like when ceremonies would get pretty tough on the body, we needed less rest because all we were doing all day was resting. So we were just waking up early to be and rest more. uh, I wanna create days of just spaciousness, like one day a week, But really, ideally, I'd like a couple hours every day rather than one full day. Oh, man. But it's been a month. Evelyn and I both returned yesterday, a month ago. And thinking about that is a bit flabbergasting and
Mm-hmm.
also not surprising in the way that, of course, it takes much longer than a month to incorporate everything. And also, I feel, I don't want to speak for both of us, but at least for myself, I felt so energized and excited and re inspired to incorporate all the things that I had learned that I wanted in my life into my life. And
Mm-hmm.
then coming back here, immediate revert back to everything that I was doing
Yeah.
before because like how else was it supposed to go, I guess. And then it was realizing, okay, yeah, inevitably I was going to revert back to how I was here. And the point of that is to see what Evelyn talks about a lot to me is this dissonance between where I'm at and where I want to be. And at least now it's clear where I want to be. But it's a little frustrating when you know where you want to be, but you revert back to how you were. And
Mm-hmm.
then you realize, oh, I guess I actually have to put in effort every single day
Yeah.
to slowly, slowly go
Slowly,
against,
slowly.
or not go against, but go
Integrate.
towards, yeah.
Yeah. um, Hitomi sat with ayahuasca. Which, frankly, I don't know in this episode we have flat out said what our experience was, but
Ah,
Aaron and I sat with ayahuasca. That's what we were doing at Spirit Quest. We had 4 different ceremonies. Um, and it's incredible because one of our soul sisters, Hitomi Machizuki, she's a YouTuber. She might not know we exist. She knows in her soul, but she doesn't
I love how you
intellectually
said
know.
might not.
She knows in her heart. I know she knows that we exist in her heart, but she doesn't know in her mind yet. But that's fine. She's still one of our soul sisters, and I have every bit of confidence that she would agree with that if she heard us say that. But she also sat with ayahuasca. She did it in Peru as well, but in the Sacred Valley. But um, in one clip of her video on her experience with ayahuasca, her most recent one, she said something like, ayahuasca will not change you. It will show you the tools that you have within yourself already, and it will show you what you need to do, and it will show you all of the truth to be everything that you need to be, and it is up to you to change you. And I think that that is so important for anyone going into an ayahuasca experience or has any curiosities or even has had it in the past and is suddenly like, okay, well, I had this incredible, insane experience, but like, I feel like I am the version of myself that was before I took ayahuasca. And that's not surprising at all because ayahuasca will not change you. She won't. That would be such a lazy thing if you could just be like, okay, I'm going to take this drug and then suddenly my life has changed. No, she doesn't work like
No.
that. No. That's what she gives you that tough love too. She will say no in a hard way. And she'll give you that gentle love too. She's so motherly. She is in ayahuasca. Um,
Because she's motherly. I'll never forget what
because
Selva said that a mother should never teach her children to rely on her.
yeah. And like it's so beautiful too cuz like she will hold you. She will give you gentle love when she feels that that is what you need to be shown, and she will give you tough love. And she's just a really good mommy. She's a really good mother.
Mommy!
She knows what she's doing. Oh my god, so much wisdom. And like how much more beautiful is that experience knowing that like she's not going to do the work for you. You have to do the work for yourself. And if you are open to what she has to show you, that's beautiful. And it's up to you if you want to integrate that or not. And so, of course, we would revert back to our older selves getting back here. Of course. And that's a stepping stone forward, reverting back into our older selves. That is not a step backwards. That is not regression. That is
That's the
knowledge
step
and
one right
wisdom. And
there.
that is step one right there, is to be like, okay, this is my life. Let me actually see what my life outside of being in the jungle with no phone, being fed every, like, of course we're going to show up differently. That's a very different reality. And so when you're able to see, okay, like, this is the baseline of our reality, and seeing that gap between where we are and where we want to be, and where we want to be being what ayahuasca showed us, what we need to do and what we need to believe and integrate into our lives. That gap is what we signed up for. That gap is the soul's journey, and there's nothing wrong with that gap. That gap is the opportunity to evolve, and that's why we're all here. That's why we all incarnated and have the karma that we have, and it's all opportunity. It is all opportunity, and I'm so grateful that we're having this talk, because we've been able to like send voice memos of our integration journey and things like that to each other. But I think also just reflecting and thinking about having no phones and
Hmm.
being fed and just like having so much quiet and stillness and time off is like reminding me that, like, wow, I want to incorporate more of that into my life. Like, I need to go on airplane mode again more
Mm-hmm.
often. And I forgot until now that I could do
No,
that.
literally.
It's
And I
good to
also
reflect.
I think it's even more important now than it when. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say that. It's just as important now as it was then. I think once a week to have at least some sort of decent chunk of time, whatever that means to either of us, whatever we know in our hearts feels like enough time to be inaccessible and to just sit in our own energy and sit in our own reflections of the
Hmm.
week, of the past couple of days, or literally just the past couple of hours.
Hmm.
Is It's equally important because, like you said, everything that we learned is just an understanding of where we want to be compared to where we're at now, and the things that we know that we're capable of being, in the ways that we're capable of transforming our own lives, of transforming and evolving as people in our relationships to people and the world around us. And I guess the reason why I was inclined to say it's more important now is because, again, like you said, we're not in the jungle anymore. So now it's the real test. Now it's the real work of, can
Hmm.
we actually take what we learned and make it happen to apply it to our real, actual lives, where it's a lot scarier to change than it is to think about changing and to think about, oh, yeah, that's so beautiful, that person I know I can be, right? Like fantasizing about it is amazing. I love to meditate on, my dream self, my highest self. But what is even more rewarding and yet even more scary is showing up in a situation, noticing myself be and act in a way that isn't aligned with who I want to be or who I know I truly am, and then catching myself in that moment and being like, okay, this is the test. Am I gonna take that statement back and maybe rephrase that, or am I going to not do what I was just about to do and instead do it this way? Or am I going to actually not ignore that pressing question that I feel like I need to ask this person and just ask them the hard question to
Hmm.
have a difficult conversation that I don't necessarily want to have, my ego doesn't want to have, because it's uh it's a little friction, it's a little uncomfortable because I'm asking for something, maybe I'm asking for help, or maybe I'm asking for more love or more grace or whatever it is, and I don't
Hmm.
want to do that because I just want to, like, I just want things to float by and be easy, but
Be natural.
be natural. But I can't. Man, it's hard, but it's also, I am going to be far more miserable staying stuck then I know I will be if I just do the challenging, scary work
Mm-hmm.
now to then
Yeah.
later blossom into whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know
Whatever.
if I've shared this quote before on the podcast. I might have, and I don't know who came up with this quote in their brilliant, wise mind, but I know I've shared it with you, Aaron, before, but it says something like, "You're gonna feel pain no matter what. What do you rather feel, the pain of hard work or the pain of regret?" And I think that that is so beautiful. I actually just shared that with my social work class as well, because there's a lot of uncomfortable things in life. And I think it is ancient wisdom to say that to exist is to suffer. Like, there is suffering wherever you go, in every situation. Not every situation, but in many situations. There's a lot of suffering in existing. So, are you going to choose a surface level comfort for underlying suffering, underlying dissonance between what your soul wants and what you're actually showing up as? Or are you going to choose that surface level discomfort for that deep, deep, deep resonance and alignment and inner peace because you are showing up in a way that is such a true expression of what your soul and heart want for this life? And it's like, it's so hard in those moments. That's something that I'm still struggling with. Like, I know I'm saying all of this beautiful wisdom, but it's really hard to live. Like, it
I
is
know
hard
I'm
to
saying all
live.
of this beautiful
I,
wisdom.
but I am.
You
I
are.
am.
I know. I just love the way that you said that. Sorry, continue.
I know my worth.
Rewind. Rewind.
But for real, like, it's hard to integrate, and I give so much love and compassion to every single human being who wants that but feels that they can't. Like, it's fucking hard.
It's
And
hard.
I also, I want you to know that if you are not ready, if you are not there yet, if you feel like you don't have the ability, the tools, if you just don't feel ready to make whatever leap of faith that you feel like you need to make, that's okay. That is okay. Trust that when you're ready, it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it will come to you more naturally and you will feel more decisive on what you need to do, and you will be willing more to go through the difficulty. Um, I swear to you on everything that I am that if you just trust that everything will work out the way that it's supposed to, and you are exactly where you need to be, and you don't need to show up in any other way other than what you're doing, it'll be fine.
It'll all be fine. And it is fine
Also,
in this moment.
and it
And that's the
is
thing.
fine.
It is fine in this
Yes.
now moment. And you cannot be everything and do everything all in this now moment. You can only be what you are right now. And something I keep reminding myself over and over again is that if there's some sort of friction in something that I am, maybe I'm like trying to achieve this goal or I'm just trying to show up in a certain way and it's just not happening. I need to remember that I'm not ready. I am not
Mm-hmm.
ready. And even though I want to be right now and I feel how badly I want it or I feel it in my bones that it is something that is going to come to me in some form or
Mm-hmm.
another, I can recognize this is not the time for it. And that sucks. And that sucks. And that's
Yeah, it's hard to be
frustrating. And I want
patient
it to
with
be
that.
now. But
It's really
it's
hard to
just
be patient.
remembering, yeah. And in
But
every moment, knowing that, okay, this isn't the moment. This is not the moment. And I can remember this because I just, I just went through all of these things and it's only causing me more harm
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not recognizing that this isn't the time.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with you or the situation for it not being ready.
I'm gonna pee my pants. Hold on.
Go piss, girl. Go piss, girl. I don't know if she can hear this. I'm kind of hoping that she can't. Future Aaron, if you're editing, I just want you to know. I'm so fucking in love with your existence. The Ramdas episode is so good. This one in particular. Just like a quick summary of what really clicked for me was he was saying like, I am not speaking to you all for you all to be enlightened. Because if I am speaking and sharing this wisdom for you to be enlightened, that is me laying a trip on you and speaking from a place of expectation. I am literally speaking from a place where I'm enlightening myself. Y'all are just my tools. He obviously said
Fuck.
this in a beautiful and loving
Of
way,
course.
but like, I was like, oh my God. I have been speaking with my family saying like, you need to read this, you need to do this, you need to enlighten this way. But that is not how I enlighten anyone in my life. I enlighten other people by working on my own enlightenment. The way he words it is absolutely incredible. But then I was like, fuck, I'm not going to record this podcast episode. I'm not going to start this community. I'm not going to express my love for the world to heal and feel more love. No, I'm doing it to be healing. I'm doing it to be loving. This is all that I can possibly control. This is all that I can do. This is it. I can only control myself. I can't control you, Erin. Like, you
No.
do your thing, girl. But like,
And
as
that's what
long
I'm
as
gonna do.
and that's all,
And that's all
man.
I can
That's
do.
all you can do.
All I can do.
There's that amazing Ram Dass quote. So 2 weeks ago I smoked weed and I had an amazing time. And I flipped to a random page and it ended up being a really iconic Ram Dass quote. Page 44 in the book Be Here Now. And it's exactly what Ram Dass was saying in his talk, basically. So I'm going to read it to you guys and to Aaron. And it says, Sadhana, you've got to be quiet inside to do that kind of photography. It's very easy to photograph inanimate objects like other people, but turn the lens right in on the very stuff you're hiding in. Shoot the camera this way. Very powerful stuff. So all I can do all the time is to cool myself out. That's all I'm doing. I'm doing nothing but sadhana, which sadhana means practice. If someone says, what do you do, man? I say, I do sadhana. Sure, but don't you lecture? Sure. Lecturing happens, but I'm doing my sadhana. This trip is helping me get free of my ego, because if I get free of my ego, we all get free of our ego. Because that's the way the trip works. Because we're all the same being. And that's the problem. We can only move as fast as we all can move. You can hear this message only as purely as I am pure. That's the way it boils down. I can resonate with you in the highest place that I am. So, and this is the quote, I can do nothing for you but work on myself. You can do nothing for me but work on yourself. I am not doing sacred silliness. I'm not doing this, whatever future thing we do for the rest of the world. I'm doing it for my own enlightenment. And I'm doing it to become unconditional love. And I was thinking too, is like, that's why Hitomi's videos are so fucking good. She's not doing it for us. She's not doing it for us. She's doing it for
Doing it for
herself,
her.
and that's why it's so good, and that's why it's so inspirational.
And
because I'm like, oh my god, I want to do it for myself. It's incredible. That's how you do it.
And that's why the classic musician's phrasing is, if you're making music for other people, you're going to hate your life and you're going to stop making
Mm-hmm.
music because you're going to be miserable one day and you're going to wake up
Yeah.
and you realize that you just wasted your whole life. You wasted all this time trying to chase after people, trying to chase after what's popular, whatever. And even though you might have a really successful career in the eyes of other people, in the eyes of your bank account, you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
hollow, absolutely
Mm-hmm.
fucking hollow, because you
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And oh, fuck, there was something else that you said that made me. Ah, so good, so good. Wait, wait. I don't do sports. I don't do sports. I've never been a sports gal. Never,
Same.
whatever. I'm not very, my hand-eye coordination is okay. But I'll never forget. The only thing I really know about sports is you are only as good as your worst player, and that
Mm-hmm.
applies to this earth. We are only as
Snaps.
good as our worst players. And truly, I was thinking about that last night, having a conversation about the state of the world, and I'm not trying to like brush by those things as if they're like not horrible. They're, yeah, it's pretty bad, but not but. And that is the truth of where we're all at right now. That's also like motivation right there. Oh damn. We're still there. Got to go back in.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously
Work that we need to do within ourselves. Well, we got a little bit of off topic of like Peru, but
but
we had
honestly,
some
these are some
amazing points.
lessons I think that were deepened while we were there, because I also think
100%.
about, I think, okay, here you go, guys. Here's a nice little anecdote of how this relates.
Hmm.
In that quote that you gave about, or the Ram Dass quote of, you're taking a picture of something else, but really what you're doing by examining that photo is you're examining yourself, even if you don't really realize it. And an example of this that happened in Peru was after a ceremony where I was facing some anger within myself, some resistance to certain things, some resentment. The next day I'm sitting with Evelyn, and uh, she made another statement, another one of her many beautiful statements about love, and how deeply she loves and how full she feels in her heart, to the point where she feels like she can just give it away and give it away to everyone that she comes across. Like I remember many times there would be a moment with Beth where she was going through something, and Evelyn would just sit there with the most beautiful, real presence and love in her eyes and say, I have a lot of love and a lot of strength in this moment, and I'm just letting you know that I'm giving it to you right now. And I started to like think about these moments after this ceremony as I'm sitting with Evelyn, like actively in front of her. And I realized, oh wow, I actually had a lot of like anger and resentment towards Evelyn in those moments where she's sitting there and being so open in her heart and so loving. And I'm sitting there being like, in my mind, I'm going, oh, this is fucking bullshit. Like, yeah, oh, I love you so much. I love you. She's like, shut the fuck up. There's no way. There's no fucking way. Like, get over, like, stop. Right? And this is me, like, in my own mind because of whatever reason, right? And I didn't know at the time. I'm just having these like negative emotions and this resistance to like the love that Evelyn's giving out. And I'm sitting there and I go, Evelyn, I just want to be so honest. I just realized that every time you were being your most loving, open-hearted self, it would piss me off. And I was just sitting here for the past couple of minutes thinking, why? Why? I love her. I really actually do. And I know that. I know that I love her. And I know that, like, I would take a bullet for her. I would let someone chop me up into pieces for her. And I'm sitting here judging her, closing my heart to this woman in front of me, this beautiful woman who's opening her heart. I'm closing my heart. Whatever. So I say that and I'm like, I'm realizing it's because I've been loving myself conditionally. And so watching you love yourself and love all the people around you so unconditionally is painful for me to watch because I haven't been able to do it for myself. And all I want, all my soul wants is that for myself. And I've been doing things in order to love myself, and I've been showing up in ways in order to love myself, which means that those things that I was doing, those ways that I was showing up, were not authentic because it was all conditional. And if I took it away or showed up in a different way or whatever, like I would judge myself, I would close myself off, I would shut down. I was like, well, now here it is. Like, there's my lesson. And now I can, first of all, be so much more aware of when that happens, when I shut down in the face of like really true unconditional love. And I can remember in any given moment when I'm showing up in a certain way or when I make a certain choice that I need to ask myself why I'm doing that. Am I doing it in order to love myself? If I don't do it, will I not love myself anymore? Will I shut down on my own heart? Anyway, that's really it. But
Yeah, that was a lesson that I needed to learn too, because you and I both bond in that like wellness lifestyle. And there were definitely some aspects of my life that I was doing in order to love myself, not doing out of love for myself. And so I want to say a couple of things. You opening that conversation gave me the opportunity to also gain that lesson. And we learned that lesson together, and it's been something that I've been able to reflect on since we've returned back, which has been extremely helpful for me in so many ways. Um, so I'm obviously insanely grateful for you even opening up that conversation for that reason, but also witnessing you expressing your hard truth of not being a incredible, like, love filled, unconditional love goddess that we all want to be in this spiritual community was fucking awesome. It was so awesome for you to say that because, like, there's sometimes nothing more vulnerable than sharing with someone you love so much who has a common goal of being loved that you don't feel like you are loved. And I think you sharing that with me was such a beautiful step in our friendship because what an incredible thing for my best friend to say, like, I was mad at you for being loving. Like, I don't know, like, I love you more for it. I know
bullshit.
that I know that that just like follows through with me kind of being in that love, and I appreciate it a lot. And I think that that was a beautiful lesson for both of us that we gained on this insane experience.
I don't think I could have come to that conclusion if I didn't have your unconditional love because it would have been really difficult to say to you if I didn't trust in the love of our friendship
Mm-hmm.
and in the love that I know you have for me. So despite my anger in that moment towards your love, that was also me expressing my gratitude for it. Just by simply telling you that, like, it's crazy how because you were the way that you were, even though it pissed me off, it also was the exact vessel or like the exact like conductor for me to be able to come to that conclusion, which is so ironic.
You felt safe with that, yeah.
It's crazy.
I agree. Incomprehensible. Have you listened to that song yet by Big Thief?
I don't think
Incomprehensible.
so.
I think Big Thief is enlightened.
It's very
Like
possible.
her lyrics, Aaron, I highly recommend looking them up. And Sacred Silliness Community, I highly recommend looking them up. They are exquisite.
That's the kind of energy I'm working towards. I don't know if I would call it enlightened. It's a form of enlightenment
She's
where
tapped
you're
in.
experiencing the consciousness and the universal mind that we can all access. It doesn't mean we all will, like because there is a certain level of like quiet that you have to find, whether that's on purpose or not. Usually it's not. Usually it's like in a moment of crazy inspiration that you can't
Mm.
expect to happen. But of course, there are
Yeah.
all these practices that get you prepared for it so that when you're there, you know how to handle that situation and you know how to pull from that without getting lost in it, right? Like you're still grounded in reality. It's been something I've been pondering a lot.
I don't think Big Thief is actually enlightened, but I think I think she's very much tapped in and she knows some shit. But I do really appreciate you sharing that insight, and I think that kind of brings me to an experience that I had during the ayahuasca ceremony, the second one in particular. Because sometimes, like, you can do all the work in preparation, but you're not ready. And sometimes you have to be thrown into the chaos and get your moon legs a little bit and see just how not ready you are to then get ready and then go back into it when you're ready. Um,
A
so
complicated experience.
it was a really complicated experience. It was wild. It was not the worst experience of my life. Um, Even though it was so uncomfortable and so terrifying. Um, I was basically like on the precipice of ego death, and I was like literally holding on to the edge, and it got really overwhelming, and my ego just completely latched on and created so much suffering. Like I was suffering so much that night. And I was also suffering, one, because I was resisting, two, because I was so disappointed in myself. Because I had done all of that preparation. I've meditated, I did the cleansing, I've been doing yoga, I've been trying to read all these books to work on enlightenment and having these conversations with my best friend and the people in my life and set at Dharma talks. Like, so much of what I was doing was in preparation for that very experience of letting go and surrendering and having that experience of ego death. But I couldn't do it. And the thing is I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, and that was okay. And coming out of that, I was obviously at a really low point. I was like, well, shit. I was at the very precipice and I wasn't ready to let go. And I had done all that work, but I couldn't. I I potentially could have, but I was just like I probably could have, but I didn't want to and I chose not to. I chose the suffering. That was absolutely an instance where I chose to suffer instead of experiencing ego death. Um but coming out of it, I realized that that was so necessary because I got to see my fear. I got to see the deep loneliness. I got to see how much my ego actually does have a grip on me, how much I'm not enlightened. I got to see how so much of this human existence is seeking comfort and running away from the discomfort and running away from the big fat slap in the face truth of death that we are all kind of distracting ourselves from because it's terrifying. And coming out of it, I was like, well, fuck. But that's when I learned the beautiful lesson that even when you're in a low spot, even when you're somewhere where you don't want to be, even if you didn't show up in a way that you wanted to, you're not regressing. You are not regressing. That is a step forward. And I am so grateful that I was able to remember that because I was like, well, shit, I have two more ceremonies to release into this. And so I have more opportunity, and even if I didn't have those ceremonies, like I can do that in my everyday life too, and that's what I'm also working towards. But I am grateful for all of that. And so I just wanted to say that too, because like you can do the work and then still not be ready. But then seeing how much you're not ready is so okay, and love yourself for being there and then keep moving forward. And that just know that you'll keep getting opportunities until the moment that you are ready. And then when you are ready, you will release and surrender. And that's exactly what happened. Third ceremony, I released. I was terrified. I was so scared. I was so scared. But I fucking did it. And guess what was on the other side?
Nothing.
Well,
No thing.
no thing. I, yes. But I guess what I experienced on the other side of that release and surrender and the ego death. You got it, Erin. It was love. She made a heart symbol with her hands. It was love. It was complete and total love. So, yeah,
Something
it's
that you
okay.
were already tapped into, which is hilarious.
Yeah, dog. It's always
And
there.
somehow we had the opposite experience of you had a much easier time tapping into this infinite source of love. Um, and honestly, I don't want to say that entirely for myself, like, really, truly, more than anything. It was more a difficulty that I have for that same love for myself because when I think about you, I always had that infinite love for you. And that judgment and that anger that I had when you were sharing your infinite love was to all about me and my own relationship to myself and had
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do, I don't think, with the ability that I had to really, truly, unconditionally love other people. Um, But anyway, I say that because I remember we talked about this experience and I shared how in my first ceremony I had that experience and it was something that was already familiar to me because I had been to that place before where I had just like I don't know, I guess I find it easy to just like let go in moments like that and
Mm-hmm.
trust that like whatever it is I'm going into is like already within me and like I'm going to come out of it and you know, it is what it is. And and it was easier this time because I had already been through that same thing that you had been through of like resistance to it. It's like this is mortifying. I'm dying. Because you are. Like the part of you that's thinking that is dying. So it's like, fuck you. No, I'm going to be so scared and I'm going to freak you out and I'm going to make your body
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's in pain even if it's not and like
Mm-hmm.
whatever give you any possible experience that I can for you to feel unpleasant so that you snap out of this and don't go to that place.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point I had been through that and I'm like, oh yeah, I know, I'm here, haha. And like I'll come out and I'm not dead, I'm not really dead because I am not this thing that thinks it's dying. um but I wanted to kind of like from there. It's funny because I looked at a page of the Ram Dass book today before we talked, just like flip to a random page just to have something to like think about before we started this episode, and it's actually so related to what you just brought up.
Slay what page?
94 and 95. And it's literally about going into this place that you were resistant to go into. So, push far enough into the void, hold fast enough to quietness, and of the 10,000 things, none but can be worked on by you. I have beheld them whither they go back, see all things, howsoever they flourish, return to the roots from which they grew. This return to the roots is called quietness. Quietness is called submission to fate. What has submitted to fate becomes part of the always so. To know the always so is to be illuminated. To not know it means to go blindly to disaster. So says Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. To go, you've got to go the whole trip, all the way to the back before you get to the place where you see that behind all this, there is all this in its unmanifest form. Always, eternally, you perceive that nothing is really happening at all. Nothing ever happens. This is why I said nothing. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing you've got to do. There's no doer to do it anyway. And then you're in the void. Then the Buddha, nature, sees there are many beings whose veils are very thin, and you can come back and teach them through your being. That's the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva role, because you can finally understand that, though it is all illusion, it never was and never will be, at every level at which you exist, you're a part of everybody else, because it's all one being. Really? That's the Bodhisattva problem. So what happens is, you go all the way out, and then you come back to here. He who clings to the void and neglects compassion does not reach the highest stage. But he who practices only compassion does not gain release from the toils of existence. He, however, who is strong in the practice of both remains neither in samsara nor in nirvana. He neither remains in the void nor in the world. And that was my problem. My predicament was that my first ceremony, I went into this place of the void. And I thought, oh yes, I forgot. I totally forgot about this void, about this truth of who I am at my core that is just energy and beingness. And then I started to get caught up in that. Once I remembered, I was like, oh, right. I am not this person that needs to do these things, that must, attend to these problems or these people or these bills. But then it's like, yes, I actually am still that person, and I am both. And I can enjoy this moment right now of quiet, of stillness, of coming back to self in that version, in that form, and remember that I am still Erin, and I actually still want to be Erin, and I don't yet want to go back into this energy that I will be infinitely a part of in this moment, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to do the things that I'm here to do and be in the manifest world while still having the privilege of having experienced this other part of who I am. And then that was kind of like every ceremony following that wasn't necessarily about that, but there was always themes of it where I'd be going through something really difficult and thinking about things and remembering things from my life, this lifetime, and getting caught up in it, and then having this duality of like, yes, I don't need to get caught up in it because it all is a part of this divine everything. And I still need to sit with it and work through it, or else I cannot be in this physical form in, the way that I want to be and the way that I know I can be. So it's still worth working on my physical body, on my mental health, on my past traumas, whatever, blah, blah, like, blah, blah, blah. Still worth it, because what's the point of having the privilege of experiencing no ego and remembering true self if I can't bring that into my reality? And same thing, like with the other way around. Yeah.
Wow. The void is so beautiful. The void is so terrifying.
The reason for me that it's terrifying, isn't it? It's like so fascinating to me, and I love this. It's in a different way, I think, than it's terrifying for you.
Mm-hmm.
I find that it's terrifying for me because I fear my temptation is to neglect my avatar's purpose.
Mm.
Because I remember that at the end of the day, I'm gonna leave this body. So no matter what I do, it's okay. Like I'll affect people in some ways. Like I'll touch people and what I do, matters. I'm not trying to be existential, like, oh, nothing I do matters, and like it's all pointless anyway because I'm gonna die. But I fear that if I do everything with that knowing in my heart, that I won't do it in the full capacity that I know I'm capable of, because I'll have this. It's like it almost becomes an excuse for being lazy, or for neglecting myself, or for neglecting like a passion that is really alive within me. Because it's scary. Because like actually being in the material world and going after the things that I want, to me, actually, that is scarier than like surrendering into the void. And that's my karma.
Oh man, that Ram Dass
Yeah.
episode that I sent you, it's titled The Pull of God versus the Pull of Humanity or something like that. And it touches on that. It touches on that big time.
I'm so excited to listen to that.
Well, to an extent, uh, it touches on half of what you're saying, but I do feel like it's all the same thing. And so leaning more into the void is leaning more into Aaron. And leaning more into Aaron is leaning more into the void. It's like the Tantra yoga that you were talking about, that's like through this is the divine, but also through the divine is also this. It's one and the same.
Yeah.
So you don't have to fear an imbalance. I mean, there can be an imbalance between the two. I do agree with that. But being one with God, more integrated with God, does not mean that you will lose Aaron. And those desires and passions within you aren't necessarily of the world either. They are of your soul. And I don't think that you'll lose those going deeper into the void. I think it is the void. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you, Aaron, for creating a divine episode with me.
Thank you for your existence. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being my freaking life partner that is helping me to create all of my material world visions come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Could not do without you.
I feel the same way. And that right there is God. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
All right,
Night night.
greats. Well,
Well, I
I
think that'll be all
suppose
from
I
us.
think we're good.
I think
I
we've
think
spoken
we're
enough
good.
on that, so have a
I
good
do
one.
agree.
I do
Yeehaw,
declare.
bitch.
Yeah.
Goodbye, namaste.
Namaste. In bed. That was our journey. That was what we had processed thus far. A month later, after returning from Peru, honestly, listening back to myself, I sound so calm. I was listening today and I was like, wow,
You are
maybe I'm
so
just really
calm.
caffeinated today. And I was maybe still on the journey of not really drinking caffeine. Anyway, it's wild to listen back to, and so much still has changed every day and every week and month since that.
Yeah.
But it all rings true, and yeah, I think we'll be coming back with a post Peru integration after kind of really living life and applying the lessons that we were just starting to grasp.
Yeah, I don't think I really have anything else to say other than thank you for listening and holding us in this journey. And if you have any questions, if there's anything specific that you'd like to know, let us know. But other than that, Send us out to your family, your friends, give us a like, or just follow for more updates. And we're wishing you all the best.
Yeah, if you want to keep following along on our journey, please subscribe. That's really helpful for us. And sharing any insights in the comments. Also, I have a yoga school online where you can come and practice with me in community. There's lots of live events. There's going to be meditation, yoga. There's just going to be satsang discussions where we kind of have like a more intimate version of this where I can talk with my community and with you all philosophy, all of the things that you might be going through in your life, and just a safe space to land. So be sure to check that out. That link is also in our link tree. And that's it, y'all. Namaste.
Namaste.